today's Crunch Time Players presented by Cheez-It. First up, we have LSU quarterback Garrett Nussmeier, who threw 6 touchdown passes to lead LSU to a 44-21 victory last weekend. Those 6 passing touchdowns tied 2023 Heisman Trophy winner Jayden Daniels for the second most in a game in LSU history. HG, what do you think allowed him to be so good?
I think, number one, he's comfortable in his skin. Whenever you're replacing a Heisman Trophy winner, a guy that's drafted second overall to the Washington Commanders, sometimes you may tend to try to do things the way the last quarterback did it. He's comfortable in his own skin. He does things his way, but he can make every single throw on the football field, and that's what I really like about him. And he diversifies the football to those weapons. And his favorite one is Kyron Lacy.
All right, let's talk about another Crunch Time player. You got anything on Nussmeier?
Yeah, he ain't doing that today. How about that? He ain't doing that today. Not with that pass rush, right?
I hear you.
Let's talk about another Crunch Time player. It is quarterback DJ Lagway over there at Florida. In his first career start versus Stanford last weekend, he completed 18 of 25 passes for 456 yards, the most in a single game for a true freshman quarterback at Florida, and just 28 yards for the most all time. How do you give him and Graham Mertz working out? How do you feel it's going to work out in Florida? Because obviously, some
Billy Napier and offensive coordinator Rob Sale have typically done a very good job of getting the most out of their quarterbacks. Obviously, this is a unique situation. Graham Mertz had the concussion in week 1. The key with DJ Lagway, he can actually throw the ball deep. He had 6 of his passes went for 30 or more yards last week. That's going to be the difference in this game if they're able to come out with the victory, which they're going to need to, because as we all know, that schedule does not get any easier for Florida.
Are you surprised at all that there's this competition now and that Lagway's not getting the on that?
I'm very surprised, because I think the freshman should be able to go out there and perform at a high level like he did last week. For him not to get that opportunity 2 weeks in a row, I just don't understand it. It's probably another reason why Billy Napier right now, a lot of people are wanting his job to be taken away from him. But if Graham Mertz goes out there and he's terrible, there's going to be some controversy, right? Because DJ Lagway should be the guy that started today and performing at a high level.
Okay, let's talk about another quarterback that had some controversy this last weekend, and that is Colorado quarterback Shadeur Sanders. He completed 23 of 38 passes for 244 yards in the Buffalo's loss to Nebraska last weekend. He's currently facing some backlash because of something that he said post-game. Take a listen.
I mean, how many times did Rowley get touched? How many times did Rowley get touched? They was able, like, of course, whenever you're able to run the ball consistently and whenever you're able to, then that opens up the pass, you know? But it's just like you got to understand, like, what your team good at. So it's like, why would we keep running the ball if, okay, we out there and we get in a situation where it's a must get and we don't get it?
Very interesting that he said that. I'll say interesting. It was disheartening to hear, because I think a lot of times you just don't want to see a quarterback you don't want to see your quarterback throw anybody under the bus. So, Lyles, how do you think that they can turn this around? But first, what is your reaction to what he had to say?
Well, first, winning solves everything.
Right.
However, this isn't the first time that he's done this. Like, we saw that clip of him and Shadeur Sanders when the college football game had come out, the video game, and they were talking about, oh, well, the offensive line plays just like ours.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about how they can't protect. And look, are they wrong? Not necessarily, but that don't make it right.
Right.
Like, you should not be airing out your teammates like this, especially when you are 2 of the most just visible players in all of college football. Everything you say makes a headline, so for you to go out and openly criticize your team, 83, like, I know, I obviously never played ball. I could not imagine, though, hearing my brother say that to me, especially the guys that are supposed to be protecting him. So, like, what makes you expect that they're going to want to play harder for you if you're openly criticizing them in that way?
Yeah, Harry, I'll tell you, I hate it, right? And playing in the NFL for 10 years, playing at the University of Louisville, this is something that would have never occurred on any team that I was on. Because anything that you have an issue with should be talked about behind closed doors and stay behind closed doors. To do this publicly and humiliate that offensive line like that, like you mentioned, a group that has to block for you, also the running backs, I don't think that's cool at all by any stretch of imagination. And I would also say this. There are NFL teams that are looking at all these little things, because if you throw your offensive lineman under the ground like this, what else are you capable of doing?
Yeah.
Now, when you talk about Shadeur, he's a phenomenal quarterback, right? Can play from the pocket, can carve you up if he has time. And what he's saying is not wrong. You just don't publicly mention that for the world to see. and make those big guys up. I call them hogs. I'm close with offensive linemen, and stuff like this really bothers guys up front because, you know, they're trying to do their best. Number one, offensive linemen would rather run block than pass block, so now you have them uncomfortable the entire game because you're forcing them to pass the entire game. They're doing their best. They're trying to come along. You have 5 new starting offensive linemen, right? Different than what you had last season. We all know cohesion is at the forefront of everything offensively. And if your offensive line is not intact, things amongst the rest of your offense won't be intact. But you can't call those guys out like that. You got to do that behind closed doors, not in the public.
A wise man once told me, you can have decorum in public, be the bigger person, be right in private, man.
Yeah.
Be right in private.
I'm curious what that means for the overall morale of the team.
You know what the crazy thing is to me about this too is we're week 2,
right?
Week 3. We're doing this 3 weeks into the season.
Yeah,
That's bad.
That's not
man.
good. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it would be, to me, this would be something completely different. It wouldn't make it any better, but it would make more sense if it's happened during the middle of the season. We're in week 3, man.
Yeah.
Like you just have to. And again, he's young. When we're young, we all make mistakes. This is a mistake.
Yeah, but
that
you're the quarterback.
You're the quarterback, 100%. And obviously, his dad has been there, done that. So you would hope that he would know better. But hopefully, he takes this as a growing moment. You know, sits down with his guys because that feels like that's a necessary step.
Well, I'd say that he has to. Because at the next level, at the NFL level, that's not flying, boss.
Right.
I promise you.
Yeah.